Um, I'd love to maybe ask, like, any insights so far on the things we've talked about? One thing you've learned so far about Pioneer that's got you excited? Don, we can I pick on you? Okay. Prime was a good example or a good insight for you. Other folks? Joe.
Model instance, the way we're differentiating DRAM being super fast, and you can do the same thing with Prime and later stage RAM. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Other folks. So all of the stuff you guys already knew. Nothing blew your mind. We're just another fund that's doing so well. Uh, yeah, yeah. Um, I like that too. It's uh, I don't know if this point came across, but I want to call this out. Um, I find I still am like integrating into the team. There are days when I feel very much part of the team. There are days where I feel like I've joined a great team and they've figured it all out. Um, and one of the things I absolutely love is how founder centric and first principles some of the decisions are. It's like, so Tim will be like, actually, some of our best founders are just heads down working. We should just call them up and be like, do you need more capital? Give them the capital. That's it. It's not a, this is how the other funds do Series A and they have to run a process and they need big term sheets. It's like, no, what does the founder need? Let's figure that out. And I think part of it is like, we don't need to wait for the world to think that this company is ready for Series A. If we believe that as founders ourselves, if we believe that in our 700 portfolio, like this company needs more support, like let's give it to them. And it comes from this angle of support. And that's what I love. It's not about just like, where can we put money? Um, you had your hand raised. We are doing such a great job. I think Tim rightfully pointed out something like Prime only works if Seed works. And the reason Seed works is because we truly have this community. I try to explain to some of my friends what I'm doing, and I'll use a weird example, but like at some point they're going to build bathrooms in space, and some YC company is going to get selected for it. They're going to come in, and it's not going to be me asking them questions. I don't know what to ask, but we're probably going to have a space guy. We're going to have a manufacturing guy. We probably have a bathroom guy too. We'll put them all in a call. They'll figure out if this is a good company or not. And then they'll sell to each other, right? Um, yeah, so I think it really like at the core is this community of VPs that then leads to excellence at Seed, which then leads to excellence at Prime. And it's like worth calling that out. Any other thoughts, insights? Okay. Um, so I met Jason and Tim in person at Fort Mason, not too far away. And I was talking to a few folks at that time. Something that's important to me is founder support. I had a hard journey myself. Um, and I talked to them and was like, okay, cool. Here's another fund that thinks they can invest in YC. Who are you guys? I knew Tim. I had a lot of respect for him. Jason I was meeting for the first time. Prime had heard, or Pioneer had heard great things about. And Tim is like, we could deploy $1 billion tomorrow if we had it. I'm like, okay, I'm in. Let's go. Um, that was one part of it. But the other part of it was, again, how he was talking about founders. I came in and I was like, okay, brand, we should just say like, here are the top founders and we invest in the best founders and we should do the same thing that every other VC does, which is we back the most daring, the most ambitious, all of that stuff. And he's like, no, we're just trying to help them. All founders are awesome. We don't pretend to be correct. We want all founders to be supported. Um, I bring this up because I think it leads us right to founder support. It's how we think about it. Um, who here has started a company? Okay, cool. Who here has gone through YC? Okay. Who has had $1 billion exit? Wow. Who's had a failed company? Who's maybe been able to get acquired? Who's made just a little bit of money? Who's had a co-founder breakup? Who had an extremely hard time with their companies? And who couldn't talk about it with their friends or peers or family? Who couldn't talk to their investors about it? Okay, so what should we do with Pioneer? Should we try and be the same kind of VC that we've all worked with? Or do we go to our ethos of being founders, supporting founders? It's very clear. Group of very talented folks. You guys are the reason that that top 80% company thing is working. No unicorn here. Founders, in my opinion, deserve some of the best love in the world. There's very small percentage of us. 100,000 maybe? 8 billion people. 100,000. If someone can do the math, I don't know, 80,000 by 8 billion, something. Very small percentage. Founders can have a lot of different journeys. Most of the effort that I've seen towards founders is we're very founder friendly. Can we be in your next round? Oh, you're not doing so well? Sorry, bye. I can't respond to your email. I don't think that's the right way to go. That's absolutely not the right way to go. This is one of the most scarcest resource for humanity, founder energy. And for me, the ethos is that let us help founders be the most successful that they can be. And in that, some will have excellent outcomes, and that will help us build a fund that's incredible with great returns. And the others will get to go the furthest that they can in life. And then they're going to join us, whether it's their next company that's super big, whether it's as a VP, whether it's joining some of our best companies, we don't know. But we should try to do the best thing we can for founders. And that's the ethos that we want to bring in. I'll pause there. I don't even know what's on my slides. But anyone got a thought so far on this? Please. Awesome. Thanks. Nice. Nice. Any other thoughts? Okay. I'm gonna keep going. Let's see. Um, so I took this slide from some of the work Jason's been doing on where we want to go. And our goal really is to be that default partner for every YC company. And it's something that we deserve, but it's also something we have to earn. And that shows up in how we talk to founders at investing time. That shows up in how we support them post YC. That's where we earn that right and we continue to be that best partner. Founder support is a huge pillar for that. Move my chair. Okay, yeah, so we do this by becoming the most valuable post YC founder. I think YC does an incredible job of um, kind of looking out into the world and seeing some of the most amazing talent that's spread out and giving them a home. YC does a phenomenal job at that. I think that's because we're all here, like all of us are here because of that. YC has to continue to do that role. They have to be really great at that. But then that leaves a gap after demo day. Where do these founders go? Where do they feel at home? I think Pioneer can be that home. And that's what I'm hoping we figure out in the next few years. And honestly, we have quite an edge in this goal. We're all YC founders. Like, there's this default trust that comes from being part of a community that everyone has gone through the same experience. Everyone, like, most people, when I ask the question of like, what was your outcome? I think in a regular founder ecosystem, people would be hesitant to answer those questions as quickly. And you guys are like, oh, I'm with YC Founders, I'm with Pioneer, this works. That is a huge, huge, huge underestimated thing. I sometimes forget this because I'm like a YC founder, but when I interact with non-YC founders, I'm reminded of this. This is a very core piece that we have. This gives us an edge. Um, there are 500 of us. There's no, we have bathroom cleaning. Uh, we have space. We have so many different things that we can go after. Um, it really gives us the ability to deal with any founder situation. There's probably no founder situation we haven't seen in our network. And if we can connect the founder to the right person at that time, that can be hugely valuable for them. What does all of this mean? 500 means we can support 700 plus companies. If we were a fund of 5 people, we couldn't do that the same way. We do understand that every company doesn't become a unicorn and founders can still find success. We know founders don't just need like requests for help. Can you intro me to customers and stuff? So much of it is like emotional support. So much of it is like a founder showing up for a founder. Um, my One of my investors was a DoorDash co-founder, and uh, I thought our company was doing well. And he brought this perspective. He's like, look, you don't know what's working. Like today you're selling stuff online. Next week you'll be sitting in that corner trying to sell stuff on the street because you think that's the best opportunity. And I thought that was like such a profound insight for an investor to have, even though we were showing growth, that he was like, stay resilient, stay agile. You don't know what's going to work. And I think we have 500 of such people that can talk like this. I said this point before, if a founder is facing it, we've seen it. That is huge. That is extremely huge. Okay, so that's kind of setting context on founder support, how I think about it, how I think we all think about this. There are already some ways we're putting this in motion. There was a question, I think, Rob, you had that question about like, what are we doing with founder support? So leading to that, we have requests for help emails. Investor updates include the kind of help that founders need. We compile all of that. We send it over to all you guys. Today it's email. Tomorrow can be better ways to interact and help. The other one is group office hours. Gosh, Ilium's leading the charge there. What a I think even if we did nothing, what we talked about with Prime and Seed, we're going to be a phenomenal fund. I think what we're doing with group office hours is going to blow our minds. There are so many motivated founders. There's so many determined founders, and all they need is some reminder that we all know, like talk to your customers, ask for the money, keep building, keep your head straight. Group office hours has been huge. I'll talk about it a little more in a second. There's another way that we help out founders, which is not obvious. When they don't send investor updates, which happens to a lot of companies, we send them a very kind email. It's not like a, yo, my admin needs to know if I should write you down to zero or not. It's like, how you doing? What's up? So I'll go into these a little bit, and these are just the start. At the breakout groups later today, we'll try to talk about some of this stuff. But this is before I move on. Founder support is a 500 player game. We are all here for founder support. No one person is going to be able to achieve it. It's going to be this whole community that comes together. The question is how we make it happen. But this community is going to come together and carry our companies and be the best partners they can find in the world. Okay, requests for help. You've seen these emails. There's some introductions, hiring, sometimes strategy, which I call expert office hours. There's some other stuff that comes in. Everyone seen this email? How many people have responded to one founder request at least? You're fired. One of the topics we're going to cover in breakout is exactly this. We do have a champion of founder requests for help emails. Steve Johnson right here. He's is it 200? I feel 200 requests. Actually, that would solve it. Leaderboard. Let's figure out how to do more of this. Breakout session. Let's figure out Like, what do you guys need to make this happen? We can help our founders in very easy ways. Okay, next one. Group office hours. Gosh, I think we could talk for hours about this. Um, Ilium's very special in leading this initiative. He came to me early on when I joined, and he's like, "We got to do group office hours." I'm like, "Yo, dude, I don't know who you are. I gotta like do the basics first." He's like, "No, no, no, no. Like, we got to do this," and it's been excellent. We've done. Uh, we started with one group. We're now to four groups, three in person, one virtual. We still consider it an experiment. Um, about six companies in each one of them, and it's kind of beautiful to see how even we're kind of coming into ourselves and how do we have direct feedback? How do we uh, challenge the founder in a very compassionate way where they respect us? So last time was three for two of the groups, three sessions. That was the experiment. And Iliam and I really went in and were um, like, guys, Iliam, by the way, Iliam flies from Miami. He usually flies overnight, does these all day, and then flies back. So we're like, this dude's flying 12 hours for you guys. Do you want this? Do you not want this? How do you want to show up? And people took that very seriously. They're like, no, 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 we're learning. One of the things they said that I loved, they're like, we're failing. We're failing every month. Every month we tell you things didn't work out, but we're failing very fast. If it wasn't for you guys, we'd probably be talking about the same problem 3 months in a row, and we wouldn't have moved on to the next experiment. So we really started focusing on like go get to the customers, talk to them, and we to like iterate that point. They're like, no, no, I know what the customer wants. I'm going to sit behind my computer and I'm going to do this. And Ilium is like, no, go talk to your customer. You will learn something. And this is one of the outputs from that. Ilium, last week you suggested that we onboard customers in person to help us learn what's needed to make more of our customers absolutely love us. We did our first in-person onboarding today, hugely valuable. We learned a lot about gaps in our product and built a lot of trust. Wanted to show you a note of appreciation. This is not the only example. Uh, these guys, this is a company that's been like a little bit in pivot hell. And again, we pushed them and they like went out to a crabbing business to understand if they can be customers. Crabbing.ai. uh, Full paper industry. These guys are writing checks to fishermen literally out on the water. They do millions in volume. A lot of tracking and monitoring goes on in this industry. And they sure as hell adopt tech when it's helpful. So we have some ideas. So if we take talented teams and we give them this kind of support, it's just going to be phenomenal. Even if a few of them find product market fit, that's huge for them. But that's not all. We have ideas for group office hours where we can keep taking the best founders, putting them together so they always feel they have the right peers. But also, this is the easiest way I know how to say it. Some founders don't have work ethic. They may have raised money, but they don't have work ethic. We should tell them that. We should set up group office hours dedicated to that problem. We should help them be like, look, we don't think how you're performing today is giving any predictability that you will build a big business. But you have money in the bank. What is the best you can do for yourself? If you need to take a week, go take a week. Think about what makes you come alive and go work from that. So group office hours can be a huge, huge, huge opportunity to support founders in so many different ways. We don't even know what's coming. Okay. Um, any thoughts on group office hours, questions? Can I get a round of applause for Ilium, please? Dave. Yeah. DM me on Slack. Um, I will be honest that I feel protective of the founders and who we put in front of them as a group office hour partner. We do, by the way, have our second one, T. She joined the last one. Um, it will be a high bar. I want that help. We need that help, but it's going to be a high bar. We are. One of the founders said, "I don't give right access to my brain to everyone." So let's be careful who we give that right access to. But please reach out, and my apologies in advance. I will be very honest with you if I don't think you're a good fit. I believe in being as direct and honest as possible. So, but please do reach out. Thank you. Were you going to ask something? No. Okay. Um, reaching out when no updates. So going back to the like, we got to write this down to zero. This email. If we haven't heard from you, just want to check in. Give me a number, 1, 2, or 3. 1, all good, just busy. Okay. How are you doing personally? Just tell us that. When was the last time you saw an investor email that asked you that? Tell us about the company. If you have some metrics, cool, tell us. I'll call something out here. Often people can think about, I think about founder support as founder service. Often people confuse service with not wanting something for yourself. And I think that founder support is a fine balance of giving founders what they need, giving them the right care that they need, giving them the support they need, and also knowing that we're running a fund and the fund has some needs. So we'll ask them there, any quick metrics or highlights to share? Because the rest of the team has to do a job. Second, would love to chat. Okay. Are you struggling with writing your investor update? Do you just want to talk about that? Something going on that you can't write about? You want to get on a phone call? Cool, let's help. That's another place you guys can help. As founders have more of our trust, they're going to want to talk to us. They're going to want to get on a call. Who are the right people? Who are the right VPs that we can point them to? Like, okay, what kind of issue are you having? You don't, or like a general talk. Here's your doctor. Talk to them. 30 minutes. When you talk to the doctor will be like, here's your prescription. Group office hours for recovering workaholics. Group office hours for billion-dollar companies. We can help them in so many ways. There's like so much. I'm highlighting this because there's so much. It's not just this massive thing. It's like thinking about their whole journey and finding the right places in their journey where we can help them. Something else, tell us. If you already sending us the things, send an update. Worried you have a tough update? We're happy to help you craft the message. So some of you might be experts at helping write investor updates. That is also help that we can provide them and we can point them to. I hope this is giving an example of like the network of things that we can do for people that otherwise no VC in the world can do. They cannot have the best at investing and also the best at writing investor updates and the best at therapy and the best at group office hours. And we can have a lot of that. This really, small email notes like this really fill my heart. This is a nice change to the usual investor outreach. That just felt good to read. Like, okay, cool. We're just getting started with this stuff. Requests for help emails. We have a 7% help rate. I think that's higher than what I would have expected, so that's awesome. But let's bring it to 50%. We can do it. We have the people for it. And Tim touched on this really important part. We can take all the, I find this really cool. We can take all the investor updates, we can see the shout outs, we can take all the shout outs and we can rank them all. And then we can see where Pioneer's at. And maybe we're at like 20th on shout outs. But as we move this metric, the shout outs are going to go up. And at some point, we're all going to be able to see #1 shout outs, Pioneer. And then we can tell the world about it. There's a little bit of stuff here that I'm not talking about, which is reputation as well. This group has achieved so much, and we've not told the world about it. I want us to do good work, and I want us to tell the world. So there's going to be a breakout group about that as well. What kind of content can we write? What kind of stories can we tell about Pioneer, about founders, about Silicon Valley, about the future that can benefit the ecosystem? And if we raise the bar, like this was really cool. 2018, 48 hours, no one did that. And now everyone's doing that. Those who invest in the YC ecosystem track Pioneer closely. And they're always trying to play catch up. If we do an excellent job at founder support, everyone else will have to level up. And that's wonderful for founders. So let's set an amazing bar. Let's get to that #1 founder support shout outs. Let's tell the world about it and let all investors rise to that. So huge win for founders. Group office hours, 730 companies, only about 20 of them in group office hours. Huge, huge, huge work to do. And I think we can get there. And then the reminders that we sent, the investor update reminders, 42% response rate. Usually, if a founder stops updating investor updates, you kind of don't hear from them. 42%. That's huge. And again, as we build more trust, as we do more things for founders, I think this number is going to go up. Okay, so where do we go from all of this? Strength is our network. We are in experimentation phase. We don't know what's going to work. We don't know what's going to be able to scale. I don't want to pretend that I have all the answers. I believe we have all the answers. My job is actually to find the answers alongside you guys and pull those answers out and get your help in supporting founders. Breakout sessions today to talk about this stuff. And we're about to go on to a break. Any thoughts, questions? Is anyone excited for founder support? Okay. Why is your hand not up? Yes, sir.
Bring the investment but with Pioneer Fund, I think developing a relationship with like long term. How do you foster that relationship? So when they need help, they've had someone they've been working for years, they can tell them terrible things happening or I need help with this.
Yeah. Questions about investment teams? Matteo, do you have a related question? Please.
Out of without knowing why happened. And I was thinking if we have thought of other ways of forming that investment and for assigning the hero responsibility of who would be the point of reference that company, who would be that trusted, you got me on WhatsApp, put me anytime, you don't need to go through an email with a bunch of people or an update to everyone, but it's me and
Yeah. James, do you have thoughts on this one?
Airtable of all the VPs. What actually, I mean, you mentioned it might be useful is suggestions for them as like, hey, these are leaders in your space, or see, these are people that we think that might be helpful for you on your company team. Would you be okay with them, us adding them to your company team? Is a interesting point too. But a lot of them actually do look at that Airtable and they say, hey, can I add so and so to my company team? I want their support down the line. And that's the way they do it now. But I think those bring up some good ideas for the future. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Ask for Kurt's help. I'll add to that. My understanding currently is that we can be flexible with the investment teams, and I think it's a brilliant idea to try and allocate focus for even you guys. Uh, I think I think Tim is a giga brain, so you could read a lot of investor updates. It'd be a lot easier for some of us if we do like we just have to listen to 10 of them. So I think that can be useful. Uh,
like that sort of some of that stuff, like even an audit or over, like even the request for help. We need to do better audit. Like last 200 requests for help, what type of request for help would work? Oh, no quick ever response to these. Let's just stop posting. So now that request for help email that Steve
increase throughout the entire thing is now down to 5. Or like, I think the big thing too is, with AI and what we look at our venture partners, building more rich profiles of our venture partners, right? Like we've gone tagging, but we're constrained by 100 tags that really don't capture that on to, so that when we, here's the right coupon or here's the right investor update that request for help that somebody. So I think right now it's like, some experiments, kind of scratching the surface, and I think like also looking back to some of the stuff that makes stuff we stopped doing. Not company teams because it's just like we're just not seeing any people pilot from sort of one captain or one sponsor. But yeah, it's so lots of stuff to think. And the breakout stuff.
Please.
Oh, I have another suggestion for that. Maybe as we think about like Pioneer Week or whatever, Pioneer Day, maybe it'd be cool if like once a year we look at, hey, here are all the companies we funded, like who wants to be involved in which company? Like we're all here, obviously we're excited about this, so I think this could be a great opportunity to do the pairing, like maybe rejigger.
I agree. Yeah, there's a whole aspect of like reducing friction.
Yeah.
To opt in right now. It's still pretty high friction.
Yeah.
Tim.
Also, say, finding individual people's superpowers, like certain people have a superpower. They went through something crazy at their company. They did something. They're a world expert at a particular thing. You can see when out of each month we get 700 updates. This one founder needs help with one thing, and we happen to have mapped it out. A world expert on that within a Pioneer Fund. They don't need to read every request for help email for a year to find that. We can just take that point. Say, hey, that's just one of many that finding people's superpowers does. That's something that a regular fund can't do. They have one partner on that one deal, and that partner's not right for that thing. Before. There's things we can do that no one else. That's one of the mental models. When we think about what kind of experiment might work, one of the mental models is what can we do that only we can? What can we do that others don't even make sense to think about? There's a lot of things like that. So that's one of the think of what experiments are worth trying, but one of those.
Please continue. Yeah, Joe.
I know this first, Pioneer Fund Day, got the after party time for all companies to invest in. But I feel there's always such a big difference between meeting someone on Zoom versus you meet them in person, you can actually spend some time with them. And I feel like we have some opportunity to do that tonight with the new companies.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. Also, Pioneer Week. I'm not trying to put just all of you together. I think we have an opportunity to bring our founders in. I think we have an opportunity to bring more of our community in. We wanted to keep this one tight. There's also an opportunity. I don't know when we get to it and if we get to it or if it's the right thing for us to do. But there's a point where we can be the people who talk about the future. Like, think about how much knowledge we have about so many different domains. I would love if part of Pioneer Week, I'm not pitching anything, Jason, was, a few days to us, a few days to founders, and a few days just talking about the future. And let all of Silicon Valley come to that. Let them see how founders think about the future. Right? So there's a lot we can do. I want to get back to this. I do like your idea. I think we should try something there, having captains or something. This is a great experiment. I think you should be in the breakout group for requests for help. These are the kind of answers we're looking for. And one of the things I'll talk about with breakout groups is I'm looking for a 1-year lens. There's no like, what's the 10-year vision of this? It's like in the next 1 year, what tactically can we do with the limited resources we have, but the wonderful expertise that we all carry that will get us to move some of these metrics forward? Cool. Sorry, 1 second. Beth?
But I think one of the things that I'd love to see on those requests for help that are more generic, where it's going to be harder to do the one-on-one matching as we build the profiles of the VP, is transparency about who else has responded. Because like I'll get a request for an intro, and I'm like, okay, I can do that, but it's some work to do it. And if someone else has already done it, and I don't want to spam the founder if they've already heard from 2 or 3 people from Pioneer. So I think some transparency around that would be, I think it would help activate people. Yeah, yeah.
A ticketing system. Good point. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, great. Shout out to everyone who did a mock interview. Shout out to you guys. Amazing. It's we just again, Fort Mason, we went into a room to record a podcast and someone had like kind of occupied the room and we're like, hey, sorry, we have this room. Do you mind like can we take the space? And he was a little like he's like, are you doing a podcast or are you just gonna do a call? And then he's like a little like bothered and he's walking out. And Tim had his like Pioneer hoodie and he suddenly goes into a smile. He's like, oh, you're Pioneer. You guys helped me. You did the mock interview for me and I got into YC. Thank you guys. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. 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 Also shout out James on this mock interview stuff. A lot of last minute coordination to make this happen. Something this group is great at, last minute showing up. There's so many moving pieces. We don't have luxury to say 3 weeks from now something's gonna happen, right? It's like, hey, this happened, this company's getting mock interview tomorrow, or hey, this company seems exciting to us. We just pulled them in by 6 hours. Can someone jump in? Those 6 hours matter, and you guys all jump in. So, yes, sir.
Hello. Okay, I believe that one of the best signals for a promising team is their ability to achieve a lot in a little bit of time. So I think with mock interviews, we can actually have like a huge advantage before anyone else, which is we should be recording the mock interview. We should be asking for their YC application. We should have like a lot of information on the team at the beginning of the batch, and then we can compare that to where they are at the end of the batch, which would give us like an incredible insight that I would say like almost no one other than YC has. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So there's history with mock interviews. So I'll claim to be the person tapping the brakes a bit on it, just because one of the times we got our hand slapped by YC was when scaling up mock interviews. Within the YC partnership, there's sort of a spectrum on how the partners think about it. Some hate them, don't ever think there should be mock interviews at all. Others are like, it's just have to embrace it. And so in the past, we've had conversations with YC of like, hey, it's happening. You'd rather us get the message out. And so for a while they were comfortable like, hey, the message needs to be founders, just do 1 or 2. Don't do like a dozen of them. Hey, making sure that the founder doesn't think like we're a gatekeeper into YC. So there's some history. So I was trying to track down Gary yesterday at demo day to have a conversation, just saying like, hey, we're going to experiment with this again, to give him a heads up, because we asked for forgiveness once. This time, there's enough of a history, kind of need to ask for a bit of permission on it. I think they'll be comfortable with it, because like it's also YC's evolved under Gary. I think we've got some examples where now there is also second time YC founders who the mock interview, actually, we kind of talk them into going back into YC. We have an example of that recently. So I think there's a better story to it, but that's, I hope to have that conversation very quickly so that, yeah, we can pour some fuel onto like whatever model we have for mock interviews. So, yeah.
Thank you. The one other thing I'll add from this mock interview perspective is today we talk to founders at specific points on their journey, and slowly what things like mock interviews, if we are able to expand them in other ways, we're kind of joining them on their journey. We end up getting more signal points. We build a better relationship. There's a random story I'll share from yesterday. Agent Mail, which I just learned from Tim, is phenomenal. And maybe Tim, during Fireside, I'd love for you to tell that story of what they're building. I'm very AI stupid. So like when I'm learning this stuff, I'm like, wow, this is insane. So I go to this founder yesterday. He's 22 or 23. Maybe he'll come out today. And he's like, man, you sent the cookies? Thank you. I'm like, why? He's like, yo, my mom wasn't sure what I'm doing. She's like, all she sees is this like website and there's a YC thing. But then when someone sent us cookies with our company's logo on it, my mom was like, okay, you're fine. You're legit. So we don't know how it changes their journey or like shapes their experience, even with these like small, subtle ways of interaction. Another story that's worth sharing, there are 3 companies now I've been sending some emails to the companies that we're investing in, kind of preparing them for ADD, demo day. And I was like, 2 reminders, I forget what the first reminder was, but the second reminder was talk to everyone. Doesn't matter big or small, talk to everyone. And then in person, I went to these guys and I said, walk to every YC alumni on ADD and ask 2 questions. Can I tell you about my company? And when you've told them about the company, have you invested in anyone this batch? If they say no, just fuck off. Like, go to the next person. 3 companies came back and told me that they closed multiple angel checks because of this. Again, just an example of how we can interject in their journey and help them, just small nudges. We don't have to take over their raise. We don't have to feel responsible for how much they raise or if they're struggling with their raise, but we can support them in taking the actions that will give them the kind of result that they want. And again, there might be some people who are brilliant at like demo day hype. Like you're such a super networker that you're like, hey, have you talked to my company X? Have you talked to my company Y? That's also someone who would be serving founders and founder support. So lots of different ways. Okay, any last questions, thoughts? Cool.
Some of the more social events, get them.
Great idea. Great idea. I think we're building this group of like really successful founders that they see the pioneer love and they're gonna like come back and want to give more. So yeah, good idea. Thank you. Yash.
Just like one thought or question to noodle on is we're talking a lot about like how do you reduce the friction for people to get involved? So our like requests for help and all that stuff. The other side of it is this is a group of like the 30 most motivated folks in Pioneer Fund, right? And so we're all pretty bought in and want to do it. But how do we make the long tail of VPs more motivated and excited to help out? And so I don't know what that looks like. And I don't know what that experience looks like, but a lot of what we do and how we pitch ourselves to founders is we have this huge community. And so how do we motivate that long tail of the community to continue to be really involved with work?
That's a really wonderful question. You should join the founder help breakout group and then in that bring that point up. I think it's an important one. This is a question I puzzle about a lot. Don here started Orange DAO. I think a lot of the lessons about community that I learned are from him and from Orange DAO. And I made this mistake where we're like, oh, we're 1,300 YC founders, of trying to get the least active people the most involved. And now this sounds very obvious to me, but the answer is actually start from the core. Give the core what they need. Let them be excited about what they're doing. And slowly some of those products will fall to the like bigger group, bigger group, bigger group. And this goes back to the reputation point. We want to tell our story to the world. As we tell this story, other people who are VPs are going to be like, oh, shoot, I haven't had a chance to contribute. I want to contribute. How can I? And then we'll solve that friction point. And maybe there are easier ways to go after this group already. But my current learning says, let's start with the core. Let's solve your problems. Automatically, that will like reduce the friction. Dave.
Yeah, sure. This is super important. And just to tag on to this, one thing that we have found in the little bit we've experimented with this is making it really, really easy for people to get as involved as they want to be when they first join Pioneer. So that's when they're already excited about being part of it. And historically, we have not done great at that. Historically, it's been the people who are the most, sort of self-activated are going to be kind of doing that. So what we have done a little bit and can definitely do more of it in better ways is reach out to that person individually right away. Find a company that we know or that they would be likely to be interested in learning about or contributing to the channel, and try to get them into a batch review pretty early, because that is a lower stakes way to be involved and kind of start learning about the community, and then try to get them from there to join their first investment call, and to have even a softer approach into the investment call. Like, so we now are flagging, some of you may have seen this already, we're flagging for the lead SVP on a call when there's going to be a new VP on that call, so that they can take a minute before the call starts to say, here's how this is going to go. If you don't want to say anything, that's fine. You can just observe. And then when the debrief starts, here's how this is going to go. So that stuff has helped, but there's a lot more we can do there.
Yeah. Thank you. That's actually a very good point. The VP journey, where it begins. So who became a VP this year? I know at least 3. Okay. Slowly, we are turning into a cult. Parsa and Poya have done calls now. Divyang's done calls. And it was kind of like proactive engagement with them. Like, I was texting Divyang and I was like, can you get on this call, and things like that. And there was good feedback coming back, which is, if I just knew the week that we're going to be busy, then I can be more available. So I think that is a good place where we can also improve, where we activate them, where we feel them welcomed. SVPs and IPs, raise hands. You guys do a lot. I know, like, James has done a phenomenal job in making so much easier, so much like bring it in so you don't have to worry about it. But you guys are still the touch point that founders experience. You are still the coordinator of these calls and the experience. And I think that extends to new people coming in. So this time I did an okay job in like trying to message a few people being like, hey, you have a new person on your call. I think I could do more of that. And then you guys get an opportunity to just say like, hey, welcome to the call. Like, this is how we're gonna do it. We don't grill founders. We express our curiosity, things like that. Goes a long way. You are the faces of Pioneer. Everyone in this room is the face of Pioneer. And as we do a wonderful job, we will have 500 faces to Pioneer. Cool, thank you. Any other questions, thoughts? Okay,